Welcome to this short session on inviting generally more calmness into your life, to rejuvenate some depleted energy resources in your body, to prepare the body perhaps even for sleep. And for doing it, we just both include some standing and seated practices. You might bring some tools if you have maybe it's a yoga belt or even perhaps a resistance band you can take. I also have a scarf here, maybe a belt, a tie. So that's one of the tools we will use later in the session. So when we can always pause the video to get those tools. So I just put them here to have them handy. So a chair as well, perhaps without armrests. And we begin this practice standing. So we are literally just moving briefly through those major joints. So joints connect as crossroads. They hold on to that energy. So we feel we are more restricted. We feel tense. We are less able to live our lives fully. So bring a bit more movement into your shoulders. So remember, shoulders, oftentimes we actually feel we carry the weight of the world on our shoulders. So let go of that weight. So clear out some of that stiffness, that tension. So really release those knots that might have formed in the shoulders. Any arm movement, I suggest to actually circle the arms back. So I turn sideways now, because when I circle the arms back, I bring more of an openness into the chest, into the upper body. So in life we generally feel hunched. We are on devices, on desks, sitting down. So bring that opposite movement into the body. Lovely. So shoulders here, maybe elbows, perhaps just bend and straighten your elbows. So perhaps even just really bring them out, stretch them out. Good. Open and close, open and close. Last one, open and close. Open and close your palms, so really spread your fingers wide. So we just want to bring kind of a bit more fluidity into our body, nourishing those joints. And then the next time you make a fist, keep the fist, circle your wrists. Good, so just bring more softness into your body. Circle in the opposite direction perhaps. Good. And then shake out your arms. Hands can be on your hips as you circle your hips. So we will be focusing on some hip movements, hamstring stretches. Good. So you might even move into more your knees. So be maybe aware of any injuries. So less is more. And then coming back to center. So you might want to hold on to a chair, lift and lower your heels. You might even lift the toes, lift your heels. Good. And then coming back to center. Ankle circles. So remember, you can make it over balance. Hold onto a chair. So keep your eyes focused on the point that's not moving. The moment we look around and even move our head, we use balance. Change sides. So a very short practice. You can almost do it anytime during the day. Lovely. And then once more, shake out arms, body. Standing twist. So perhaps bring your arms shoulder height. Perhaps even give yourself a pat on the opposite shoulder. So soft feet. So maybe the heel comes off as you turn from side to side. And then coming back to standing. Arms alongside the body. Turn the palms forward. And then a little bit out to the sides. Reach the arms up as you inhale. Exhale, draw the hands towards the heart. Lovely. 2 more rounds, arms out to the side. Turn the palms out so the shoulders draw back. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, down. Last one, your arms out wide. Turn the palms out, reach up, inhale. Exhale, pause. Lovely. From here, giving our whole body, back body a stretch especially. So you can use the chair. So turn the chair in a way that you, the back of your chair faces you. Bring your hands onto the chair, so stepping relatively close to the chair. Walk your feet back and then shift the bottom back, so really lengthening. You might even walk your feet a little bit further apart. So we avoid having a rounded back, but more like lengthening your torso, stretching out your spine. Stay for a few breaths here. So there's a sensation perhaps in the back of your legs. Lovely. 2 more breaths. And then come back up, walk towards the chair and serve your arms. So another variation, you might want to turn the chair around. So we use the seat of the chair, the same setup. So bring your hands onto the base of your chair as you walk your feet back and then shift the bottom back. So we're creating length along our spine from the tailbone towards our fingertips. So here the head is slightly lower than the heart. So if it feels uncomfortable for whatever reason, perhaps return to that position where the hands are resting on the back of your chair. So the feet can always kind of be a little bit further apart, stretch out, lengthen. So we want to create length from the fingertips alongside our elbows, armpits, rib cage to our tailbone. Good. 1 more breath here, breathing in through your nose, maybe out for a wide mouth. And then again, slowly walk your feet back towards the chair as you come up to standing position. So we're really stretching out perhaps any held tension in the body. So we will be using the chair again for perhaps one more movement that stretches out the hamstrings. So from the back of our chair, step 1 foot back. So both legs are straight and begin to hinge from your hips. So the hips go back as you fold your upper body over the front of your leg. So you might want to pause here. Breathe. So there is the chance that you might feel it quite intensely in the back of your leg. So you might perhaps even feel it in the back foot, heel. Few breaths here. So avoid holding the breath. So find that smooth inhale and exhale. 2 more breaths. And then we're going to bend your front knee as you step the feet back together. Lovely. Second side step, the opposite foot back. Both feet are straight. And again, hinge from your hips, because the moment your upper body comes closer to the floor, we begin to release the hamstring, that muscle running across from the back of our knee to our hip. So once more, allow yourself to find that smooth, regular breath. So it might take a few moments to settle into that posture. And tightness in the backs of our legs is oftentimes linked to perhaps some discomfort in the lower back. Good. 2 more breaths here. And then begin to bend your front knee as you come back up to standing. So we begin to mobilize our hips as well. So you might hold onto the chair, you might just rest your hands on your hip. So begin to shift the weight into one foot and perhaps resting just on the big toe. And begin to turn the knee out and in. So we are mobilizing here our hip, externally rotating. Out and in. So option number 1, you stay here with the foot still connected to the floor. Option number 2, you lift and you circle. So we're externally rotating. So it doesn't have to be a huge movement, big movement. It can be even smaller movement. So perhaps take 2 more circles here as we are warming up. We are mobilizing our hip. And then bring the foot down. Second side. So again, starting here by just pointing the knee out and in. So keeping those hip bones pointing forward. So we try to avoid turning our whole torso to the side. So that gives you that almost better idea of the range of motion in your hip. So you can continue with the foot placed on the floor, or you lift and circle. So it's less of a balance. Of course, you can always make it a balance, but more mobilizing and increasing circulation in your hip joints. Good. 2 more circles. And then coming back to center. So now it's the time where we need the tool. So I use my scarf. So come into an upright seated position. I'll probably start sideways as it's better to follow. So perhaps sitting more towards the edge of the chair. Again, we want to bring awareness to an upright posture. Extend 1 foot out in front of you and perhaps start by pointing and flexing your foot. So you might feel the sensation in the calf. Lovely. 2 more taps here. Point, flex, point, flex. So now it's the time to bring in the belt, your tie, scarf or resistance band, and hook your item, your object, around the ball of that extended foot. So it should hopefully be long enough that you sit in an upright seated position. So that might already be enough here. And you might feel perhaps quite a strong sensation at the back of your leg. So use the breath again. In through your nose, maybe out for a wide open mouth. So bring awareness to posture. So even the shoulders draw slightly back. And from here, slowly fold forward. So it's not a big movement, but just as much that you might feel it in the back of your leg. So on a scale of 1 to 10, where 1 being quite soft and 10 being too hard, almost pushing too much, we perhaps want to be on a 6 or 7. Hold that posture, hold that stretch, as you allow the breath to move in and out of your body. Three more breaths on the first side. So notice if you're rounding the back. If that's the case, if you lose the stretch, sit up upright and fold from your hips. And then slowly release, bring the foot back in. Second side, extend your foot out so the heel presses down. Bring your scarf, belt, tie around the ball of your foot and keep pressing through the heel. Upright position, shoulders back, and slowly begin to lean forward. And once more, find that stretch that gives you almost the best of not too much of a, let's say, painful discomfort. So we try to avoid pain, but a good sensation that it feels like a release in the back of our legs. try to avoid holding the breath, gripping that breath. Work with that sensation. Because if we hold the breath, the muscles tense and we are not able to release. 2 more breaths. And then release that scarf, the object, bring the foot back in. Lovely. So from here, last stretch before we settle into breathing practice. So we're coming into a figure 4 stretch, and it depends really on hip mobility. So you can extend one leg out and perhaps just keep that knee pointing out. So you might rest your foot on your shin. You might slide your foot up, bend your knee as you sit in that position here. So you might go from a different angle. So you might start kind of cross-legged and then slowly work the knee out. So choose what feels best for your bodies. Remember, you can always come back and just keep the knee maybe gently tilted out to the side. So if you're more in the figure 4 position where the foot is resting on top of your thigh, notice if you're rounding the back. So straighten the back. And that might be enough to really feel a bit more of a release happening in the outer hip. So smooth, regular breath in through your nose, maybe out through open mouth. So you can keep that upright posture. If you want more of a deeper stretch, lean forward. So again, just a slight tilt. So we don't want to round the shoulders. Keep the spine nice and long. And then tilt forward. And then return back. Release your foot. Good. Second side. Again, each hip might we feel differently. So depending maybe on injuries, on just some general discomfort, choose posture that feels most accessible for you. So staying again here, lengthening through the crown of your head. So really lengthen the spine. And then slowly use the breath to soften. So breathing in and breathing out. 3 more breaths. And eventually release your foot down. So we're finishing the practice with a seated breathing practice. And I'll move a little closer to the screen. So find a comfortable seated position. Maybe you're resting your back at the back of your chair. You might even get a tissue as we are focusing on the left nostril, left channel breathing. So just breathing in through the left nostril actually is associated with calming down our nervous system. So we're shifting our nervous system from the sympathetic state into the parasympathetic state. So I invite you to perhaps just use a couple of fingers, rest them gently. So just against your nostril. Close off your right nostril. As you gently breathe in and out through the left nostril only. If that causes discomfort in any way, please remove your hand and perhaps even visualize just drawing the breath in through the left side of your nostril. So you can close your eyes if that feels okay, or you can keep your gaze perhaps down to the floor on a point that's not moving. And explore drawing the breath in and breathing out through the left nostril only. So I suggest keep your mouth closed, so as we once more connect to that diaphragmatic breathing, to abdominal breathing. So gently invite the breath in and let it flow out. Three more breaths. And then release your hand. Return to just your natural breathing pattern. Notice how you feel. So with your next inhale, then perhaps blink your eyes open. And thank yourself for making time for this session. Thank you for joining.